the head. So this is considered down here, right around that edge. That would be considered the surgical neck, and this is considered the anatomical neck. Okay, so when they replace a shoulder, they're going to cut here if they have to do a shoulder replacement to put the prosthetic on. All right, so again, we're going to create your favorite and mine, a cube. Bring it up into the picture here. We'll smooth it like we did the capitulum, and we'll move it around, get it relatively correct position, scale it a little bigger. Maybe we'll put the wireframe on so we can see it relative to the drawing a little better. That's about what we want. Now, when we come back to this later in the semester, let's make it a little larger. When we come back to this later in the semester, what we'll do is cut off the, we'll take this object, this cube, center its pivot, rotate it a little bit like that, and we'll cut off the back half and merge it with the at the anatomical neck. Okay, I think we're in pretty good shape there. This maybe could be just a little bit bigger. Maybe we can just take this edge actually and scale it. That seems to be a little more the shape I want. Let me move it. What I want to do is, what I'm trying to do is on this perspective window, I don't want that lip in front of it. I want the take it down a little bit. We'll have to probably do that when we, like I said, when I put it, attach it. Could do is for right now, let's say modify freeze transformations. Okay, so that's 0, 0, 0 at that position, which is where I want it. But I think we come up here, we say face, and we delete basically half of this ball. And I'm going to say, let's see what it looks like before. Now if I go back to 0, 0, 0, it's back where it was. Now you can see how deleting that half has left this, has left this. What happened to my, I deleted the whole bone? That's not cool. Yeah, shoot. Didn't realize I selected that. There we go. It kind of distorted a little bit when we deleted that. That's okay. We can scale that and put another edge there if we need to. So I can grab that edge and scale it. And certainly we can. But the nice thing about doing that, you see, is it get rid of that. It keeps the head relatively correct size, but it got rid of that area where it was coming, where the it was going over the top of the lesser tubercle. Let me see. I want to go and do something here. Let's try the scale. Let's see if we change this to object. No, or component. Yeah, okay, that got it. See, I want to scale this in this axis. So when it's on world, which is literally X, Y, and Z, object will give it the orientation of the object, but that's still not enough. When I say component, because I'm using that edge, it orientates to that edge because that's the component. If I was to select the object, see if I go to component, it's not going to do anything. World's going to stay where it is, but let's say I took this edge and set component. So again, it's going to orientate now towards that. I'm just going to bring that out a little bit more. Okay, maybe bring. Let's take the whole object. Let's move it forward just a little bit. Okay, so it begins to look more like we want. You can see it's coming out a little too wide. Now the question is the head too wide, or are the greater and lesser tubercles too narrow? And I think it's the latter. That looks a little more like what we should see, because that lesser tubercle is actually, from the anterior view, it seems to overlap. Let's go back to world. Overlap that a little more. Okay, and then over here you can do the same thing with the greater. Doesn't have to be much. All right, and we can refine that again. Like I said, I mean, what may also be, I may be wrong a little bit. Let's scale that in a little bit. There we go. That feels a little better, a little rounder. So you can see there's a lot of trial and error, and that's one of the reasons you want to keep saving over and over again. So not one file on top of the other, but rather, um, save as you get a successful phase, so that you can go back to it if the next decision you make it isn't quite correct, and you want to go back. You don't want to have to go all the way back. You want to go back to basically where you can find your. Okay, there you go. Oop, I don't like that gap there, so I'll get that, pull it down. So like I said, what we'll do eventually when we come back to this later in the semester is we'll cut a hole in this area that's, we're calling that's called the anatomical neck, and we'll actually merge the two. There is an advantage to what we've done here, though, I have to admit, because I can now, use two different shaders on this, on these models. One for the head and one for the rest of it. So, okay, so that's pretty close to what we want. Now, one last trick I might do. I'm going to take all these guys. We'll group them. Okay. But I'm also going to say face, take the face and soft select. And what we talk about is that head is facing up like we have it superiorly, but it's also facing a little bit posteriorly. So I'm just going to twist, and by using that soft select, I got the twist without getting a real remarkable boundary there. This little edge right there, that's not bad. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this though, scale it a little smaller, and push it in just a little bit to kind of suggest more of that groove. So really there isn't enough geometry here for me to make that groove the way I'd like to. So the only choice I have is to go, well, actually I have two choices. I can continue to build more geometry. In other words, I could put another pair of edges inside here, and then bring them in, or I could work with a displacement map, which is what we're going to learn a little later in the semester, and that's what we'll end up doing, because keeping the geometry light will help make the file render quicker, and if we ever have to animate it, we'll make a better animation. Okay, so there's our humerus.